I'm Sarah, an ER doc with more caffeine in my veins than blood. My life's a blur of beeping machines and 3 a.m. code blues. Social life? What's that? Tonight, though, my friends weren't having any of my excuses. You're coming out with us, Sarah. End of discussion, Jess declared, her voice leaving no room for my usual "I'm too busy" line. So, there I was, shoved into a dress I forgot I owned, standing awkwardly at a loud party packed with strangers, mostly younger than me. The bass from the speakers made the glasses on the makeshift bar rattle. It was the kind of scene I'd usually avoid like the plague, but Jess was on a mission. Loosen up, Sarah. It's just a party, not a freaking exam. Jess nudged me with her elbow, handing me a drink that looked like it could glow in the dark. I don't know, Jess. This isn't really my scene, I murmured, scanning the room. It felt like stepping into another world where the stress of the ER didn't exist. Give it an hour. If you're miserable, we'll bail. Fair? She bargained. Before I could argue, someone bumped into me, sloshing my drink down my front. Shit, I'm sorry, a voice exclaimed. I looked up, ready to unleash a hospital-grade scowl, but stopped short. The guy was about my age, tall, with an easy smile and a helpless shrug. I'm a klutz, he confessed, his eyes crinkling in amusement at his own clumsiness. It's fine. It's just a drink, I replied, my irritation fading faster than I expected. I'm Alex. And you are? He extended his hand, still smiling. Sarah. And a bit damp now, thanks to you. I joked, surprising myself with how quickly I warmed up to his demeanor. Let me make it up to you. Can I buy you another drink? One that stays in the glass this time? Alex offered. I hesitated, glancing at Jess, who was practically bouncing with excitement. Go on, she mouthed. Sure, why not? I found myself saying. Alex beamed and led the way to the bar. So, Sarah, what do you do when you're not being assaulted by drinks at parties? Alex asked as he handed me a safer choice this time, a glass of red wine. I patch people up. I'm a doctor, I answered, taking a sip to hide the nerves I didn't expect to feel. Wow, that's intense. I sell construction materials. It's as exciting as it sounds, he played along. But hey, it pays the bills and doesn't involve blood, so I'm not complaining. We found a quieter corner, away from the thumping bass, and talked more. He was easy to talk to, no pretenses, just straightforward chatter. He didn't flinch at my ER stories, and his anecdotes about mishaps at construction sites were unexpectedly hilarious. As the night wound down, Alex pulled out his phone. Can I get your number? I mean, if you want to grab coffee or something less wet, he chuckled. I laughed, the sound more relaxed and genuine than it had been in months. Sure, why not? As I lay in bed later that night, phone buzzing with a good night text from Alex, I realized I was smiling. Maybe, just maybe, this wasn't such a bad idea. A year flew by, and before I knew it, we were swapping rings and saying I do. Sitting at our new kitchen table, Alex broke the silence one evening. So, when do you think we should start trying for a baby? He asked, his eyes searching mine for a hint of readiness. I sighed, pushing my plate aside. Alex, we've talked about this. We agreed, remember? Careers first, kids later. I'm not even sure I'm ready to be a mom yet. He leaned back, the chair creaking under his weight. I know. It's just, my mom keeps asking. You know how she is. I stood up, feeling the walls of the kitchen close in. We are not having a baby just because your mom can't wait. That's ridiculous. The next few weeks were filled with similar conversations. It wasn't just Alex, his mom called almost daily with the same nagging question. One evening, after a long shift, I picked up her call by mistake. So, any good news yet? She chirped as soon as I said hello. Hi, Linda. No news. We're still not planning on kids right now, I replied, trying to keep my voice even. You know, Sarah, you aren't getting any younger. And Alex really wants to be a dad. You should think about your husband's needs too, Linda said, her voice stern and unwavering. I clenched my phone tighter. Linda, I appreciate your concern, but please, this is between Alex and me. We'll have kids when we're both ready, not because we're pressured into it. She huffed. Well, I just think you're being selfish. A baby would bring so much joy to the family. I'm not being selfish, Linda. I'm being sensible. Goodbye. I hung up, my heart pounding with anger. Days turned into weeks, and the pressure didn't let up. At work, my days were packed, the ER demanding all the energy I could muster. Home wasn't much of a sanctuary either with the constant baby talk. One late night, as I came home exhausted, Alex was waiting up. Hey, can we talk? He asked softly, noticing my weary eyes. Sure, what's up? I replied, dropping my keys and sinking into the sofa. It's about the baby thing again, he started, hesitating. I know we said we'd wait, but maybe we could just start thinking about it. Like, not trying, but not trying? I rubbed my temples, feeling a headache coming on. Alex, I can't do this tonight. I just worked a double shift. Can we talk about this later? He nodded, disappointment clear in his eyes. Yeah, okay. Get some rest. The following morning, as Alex and I sipped our coffee in silence, I knew something had to give. Alex, I love you, but we can't keep having this conversation. It's wearing me down. We need to stick to our plan, or I don't know how I'll handle it. Alex looked at me, his expression softening. I'm sorry, babe. It's just hard with Mom always on my back. But you're right. We'll do this our way. I'll talk to her, I promise. One evening, coming home earlier than usual, something felt off. The house was quiet, too quiet for someone supposedly eager to see me. Tossing my keys on the counter, I heard voices from the office. Creeping closer, it wasn't the TV, Alex was on a call. Hiding by the doorway, I heard him, yeah, Mom, I know. But it's been months, and nothing. No, she still thinks she's taking her birth control. The floor felt like it dropped from beneath me. My heart pounded so loud, I was sure he'd hear it. You replaced them, right? That was his mother's voice, tinny but clear from the speakerphone. Yes, like I told you. Just vitamins now. If she's not pregnant soon, maybe there's something wrong with her. Alex replied, a casual toss of life-changing deceit. I couldn't breathe, let alone move. When I finally stepped into the room, Alex jumped, fumbling the phone. Sarah, you're home early. Cut the crap, Alex. What did you just say? My voice was ice, each word sharp enough to cut. Alex's face went through 50 shades of panic. Look, we want a family, right? And you said later, but later when? I thought maybe if things just started to happen, you'd. You messed with my meds, Alex? You played with my body like it's some kind of test run? I was screaming now, too loud, too raw. He tried to reach out, probably for comfort, but I slapped his hand away. Don't touch me. You and your mother plotted behind my back, treating me like I'm some broodmare? It's not like that, Sarah. It's just, I want a kid so bad. And Mom, she's always on about it. I thought if you got pregnant, you'd be happy. Happy? I was nearly breathless with rage. You decided to trick me into being happy? We need to calm down. Let's just sit and talk about this. We can fix it, Alex pleaded, his voice a mix of desperation and stupidity. There's nothing to fix, Alex. You broke us. You broke everything. I grabbed my coat, storming past him, his apologies just noise in the chaotic storm inside me. Family means everything to me, so despite the betrayal, I agreed to meet Alex halfway. We needed to clear up any doubts about our health, especially since he'd been messing with my birth control. We decided to get checked out at the clinic where I work, which made me feel a tad more in control of the situation. The day we went in for testing, the clinic was quiet, familiar. I felt my colleagues' curious eyes on us, but they respected my privacy. After the tests, the wait for the results felt like an eternity. Alex tried to make small talk, maybe to ease his guilt, but I just couldn't. When the results came in, I was alone in my office. I opened the envelope with a mix of fear and hope. My results were clear, no issues at all. Then I looked at Alex's. My heart sank reading the words, male infertility due to a physiological issue. It meant that all along, the problem wasn't me, and all his accusations and manipulations were for nothing. I needed a second opinion, just to be absolutely sure. I called up my friend Mara, a reproductologist. "Hey, Mara, can you look over some test results for me? It's important." Mara met me for coffee, and I handed her the documents discreetly. She reviewed them quietly, her expression serious. Finally, she looked up. "Sarah, these results are conclusive. Alex can't father a child. I'm really sorry." The news was a relief and a weight all at once. I thanked her and walked back to the clinic in a daze. How was I supposed to break this to Alex? He wanted kids so badly, he'd deceived me. But telling him he was the reason for our childless marriage felt like kicking him when he was down. So, I made a decision. That evening, as we sat in our living room, the setting sun casting long shadows, Alex turned to me, anxious. "So, what did the tests say?" I looked at him, my heart heavy with the secret I was about to keep. "We're both fine, Alex. There are just some minor issues, nothing we can't handle. We just need to keep trying." He exhaled, relief washing over his face, and I felt a pang of guilt for the lie. "That's great, Sarah. I was worried. We can work through this, right?" "Yeah, we can try." My words felt hollow even to my own ears. We spent the next few days in a tentative peace, but the lie festered inside me. I watched Alex as he started making plans, talking about future kids with a hope that stung my conscience. I tried to feel happy, to share in his optimism, but the truth was a barrier between us. One night, unable to sleep, I slipped out of bed and went to the living room. The moonlight streamed through the window, casting shadows that seemed to mock my turmoil. I dialed Mara's number. "Mara, it's me." I lied to him. Told him we're both okay. Mara was silent for a moment. "Sarah, I get why you did it, but this isn't something you can hide forever. He's going to find out eventually." "I know, but how can I crush him with this? After everything, how can I be the one to break him completely?" "It's not about breaking him, Sarah. It's about being honest with each other. This lie won't help either of you in the long run." Life threw us a curveball when Alex got offered a big promotion. It was a fantastic opportunity for him, but it meant moving to another state. I could see how much it meant to him, how his eyes lit up talking about the possibilities. He wanted it, and he wanted me there with him. Despite everything, our private struggles and the lies hanging between us, I said yes. Family was supposed to stick together, right? Leaving my job at the bustling ER in our hometown was harder than I thought. I loved the place, the pace, and the people. I was part of a team, a community. Moving meant leaving all that behind for a quieter, smaller clinic that, frankly, didn't spark the same passion in me. But I kept these feelings to myself. Alex was riding high on his new job, and I didn't want to be the rain on his parade. Our new life in a new city was different. I landed a job at a private clinic. It was okay, but it lacked the adrenaline rush of my previous ER shifts. I missed my old colleagues and friends terribly. The move also took its toll on our personal life. Alex buried himself in his work, and the issues we skirted around, like the ticking bomb of our non-existent family planning, started to resurface, but differently this time. Every month, like clockwork, Alex's mom would ring him up to ask if there was any good news. I wasn't privy to their conversations, but I could see the change in Alex afterward. He grew more distant, more sullen. One evening, after one such call, he let it all out on me. "We're not getting any younger, Sarah. You're a doctor. Shouldn't you be able to sort this out? Figure something out?" His words were like slaps, harsh and blaming. I was setting the table for dinner, and his words made me pause, hands trembling slightly. "Alex, that's not fair. You know it's not that simple. He scoffed, tossing his phone on the couch. What's not fair is you not doing enough. Maybe if you were home more, instead of always at your new job, things might be different. That's not how it works, and you know it. Being at home more isn't going to change our situation, I shot back, frustration boiling over. His ignorance, or was it denial, about our real issues was maddening. He turned away, muttering something under his breath about how maybe a better doctor would have fixed it already. I wanted to scream, to tell him the truth about his own condition, but I bit my tongue. Telling him wouldn't just hurt him, it could shatter whatever was left of us. So, I swallowed the truth, along with my anger, and kept the peace. As the months turned into a year, and then two, the pattern continued. Alex started staying late at work, often going away on weekends. His excuse was always the same: I don't want to sit at home alone waiting for you to finish work. Each time he said it, it stung. It felt like an excuse, a way to avoid facing our reality together. I spent many nights alone, wondering if the gap between us was growing too wide to bridge. Our wedding anniversary was supposed to be a milestone, a celebration. I decided to make it special, despite the growing distance between Alex and me. I took a few days off, booked a cozy hotel, and planned a surprise dinner at one of the nicer restaurants in town, thinking maybe, just maybe, we could rekindle something. The day came, and I was a bundle of nerves, mixed with a bit of excitement. I left work early, got dressed up, and headed home to pick up Alex so we could start our evening together. But when I got there, the house was empty. No note, no text. Nothing. I called him, no answer. I tried not to panic and called again. Still, nothing. That's when I remembered the tracking app we both casually used to keep tabs on each other's whereabouts. I pulled up the app, hesitating for a moment, before I tapped the screen. There he was, not at work like he said he'd be, but at some restaurant across town. A part of me hoped, ridiculously, that he was planning his own surprise. Maybe this was some elaborate setup? Clinging to this hope, I caught a taxi and headed to the address on the app. I arrived at the restaurant, my heart pounding in my chest. I walked in, scanning the room until I found him. There he was, sitting in a dim corner, but he wasn't alone. Across from him was a woman, blonde, laughing at something he said. My stomach turned as I watched him reach out and touch her hand, his smile wide and genuine in a way I hadn't seen in months. I stood there, frozen, as he leaned closer to her, whispering something that made her laugh again. That's when he did it, reached over and gently stroked her stomach. It was a small gesture, but it told me everything I didn't want to know. Feeling like I was going to be sick, I backed out of the restaurant. Once outside, I let the cool evening air hit my face, trying to collect my shattered thoughts. I should confront them, make a scene, something, but I couldn't. Instead, I got into the taxi, my hands shaking, and told the driver to just drive. As we moved away, my mind raced. All the late nights, the weekends away. It wasn't just work. It was her. Maybe it had always been her. Suddenly, I remembered the clinic results then, how they said Alex was infertile. A bitter laugh escaped me as I realized the absurdity of the situation. His mistress couldn't be pregnant by him. The irony was too much, and for a moment, I actually grinned amidst the tears. The taxi pulled up to our house, and I went inside one last time. I packed quickly, grabbing only what was necessary. Clothes, some personal items, and my dignity. I left behind anything that reminded me of Alex, of us. With my bags in hand, I called another taxi and directed it to take me to the hotel I originally booked for our anniversary. The hotel room was supposed to be a romantic getaway, but now it was just a quiet space to start figuring out my next steps. The morning after I checked into the hotel, I made a call to a lawyer recommended by a friend. I needed to sort out the divorce, and quick. My husband had tried calling multiple times since last night, but I wasn't ready to hear his excuses. I didn't pick up. At the lawyer's office, he laid out the steps for the proceedings. Given the circumstances of infidelity, you have a strong case for a favorable settlement, he explained, shuffling through some papers. Let's just get this over with, I replied, my tone flat. The lawyer nodded, understanding the urgency, and reached out to Alex to set up a meeting. The day of the meeting, I walked into the lawyer's office to find Alex and his mistress already there. My stomach turned seeing them together, but I kept my composure. As we all sat down, my lawyer wasted no time. We're here to discuss the terms of the divorce. My client demands fair financial compensation given the situation. Alex looked like he was trying to keep cool, but I could see the anger in his eyes. This is just revenge, isn't it? You're doing this because you feel inferior, because you couldn't give us a child, he shot back, his voice rising. The lawyer remained calm. Alex, the fact of your infidelity is not in dispute here. The consequences are clear and supported by the law. This isn't about revenge, it's about justice and rightful compensation. Grudgingly, Alex agreed to the terms, but as we were about to wrap up, his mistress suddenly stood up, wincing and clutching her stomach. It was clear her water had just broken. Sarah, can you? Alex started, panic lacing his voice. She needs a hospital, not me, I said sharply, standing up. I'm not the person you should be asking for help. Nevertheless, chaos ensued, and we all ended up rushing to the hospital with her. At the hospital, the scene was hectic as she was whisked away to the delivery room. Hours later, the news came, she had given birth to a healthy baby boy, but the child was clearly not Alex's. He was black, and both Alex and his mistress were white. Stunned, Alex turned to me, confusion written all over his face. Sarah, is this some sort of mistake? How can this? I couldn't help it, I burst out laughing. It was too much, the irony, the shock on his face. Alex, remember the infertility results? You're not the father. You never could be. His face drained of color as I handed him the divorce papers and the medical certificate that confirmed his condition. As he read the documents, reality hit him hard. He finally understood the full extent of his actions and their repercussions. Leaving the hospital, I felt a strange mixture of relief and vindication. Alex's calls flooded my phone as soon as I walked out, each one begging for forgiveness. But I was done. I blocked his number and didn't look back. Back in my home city, walking into the prestigious hospital where my career really began, I felt a rush of familiarity and relief. It was like stepping back into a life I'd almost forgotten, one where I was valued and respected. My colleagues welcomed me with open arms, their smiles and hearty welcome backs filled me with warmth. However, not everything was smooth. Linda, my ex-mother-in-law, started calling me frequently, her voice always carrying a tone of desperation. Sarah, you need to come back to him. He's a mess without you, she would say, her demands growing more insistent with each call. I tried to be patient, to explain that it was over, but she wouldn't listen. One day, she showed up at the hospital unannounced. Her appearance was disheveled, her eyes frantic. Sarah, you have to fix this. Alex has started drinking, he's lost his job because of it. I'm supporting him now. He needs you, she pleaded, causing a scene in the middle of the lobby. I took her aside, keeping my voice low and firm. Linda, I am not responsible for Alex anymore. We are divorced. He is not my concern. Please stop contacting me and do not come here again. Her face twisted in anger, and she began to shout, drawing the attention of patients and staff. You owe him. You can't just abandon him, he's your husband. He was my husband. I owe him nothing now. This is a hospital, Linda. You need to leave, or I will call security, I responded, my patience finally wearing thin. She continued to argue, but I walked away, signaling to one of our security officers, who promptly began to escort her out. When she resisted, I didn't hesitate, I called the police. Despite the drama, life got better day by day. I reconnected with old friends and made new ones. I was involved in some groundbreaking projects at the hospital, and my work was fulfilling. The respect from my colleagues and the gratitude from my patients reminded me daily why I love this job.